when we read earlier, this document was composed a month before Mr. King was assassinated. Read.
King could be a very real contender for this position.
Why is that?
Should he abandon his supposed obedience to white liberal doctrines?
See that? So they knew that they had their thumb on Mr. Martin Luther. They was the ones, honestly, behind the scenes writing a lot of them speeches, putting that brother to go out there and say, "Oh, we all need to be one." They was exactly. They was behind that, but they knew. Wait a minute. If this brother start to rebel against that, he's a threat. He can lead these people to the promised land, like his last speech said. Read.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
This position, should he abandon his supposed obedience to white liberal doctrines, nonviolence, and embrace black nationalism?
And embrace what?
Black nationalism.
You see that? So if King had a fully woke up, as he did the day before he got assassinated, if you check out his speech, he said, "I'm not worried about what these people planning on doing to me, but I have seen the coming of the glory of the Lord. And we as a people will make it to the promised land." That brother, I believe, started to embrace and understand who he was. He knew he had led his people into a burning house and attached us to Babylon. If he had got fully in here, complete threat. This is real, quote unquote, black nationalism. Knowing who you really are. House of Israel. Read.
Carmichael has the necessary charisma to be a real threat in this way. Prevent violence on the part of black nationalist groups.
You see that? Because they know when we rise up, we got such strength with us, brother, we will overtake this thing. And they know when they read the book of Daniel chapter 7, it says that the saints will take and possess the kingdom. That's what's getting ready to take place, brother. Them people over there that invaded our land, that parted our land up, they getting ready to get their behinds kicked out of there. And violence got to take place, unfortunately, under Hamashiach. So they wanted to stop that. We're gonna crush this document. So keep that in mind. That was called Intelpro. Long range goals to keep brothers from unifying and understanding who their nation was. Let's see their plan. Let's get into the meat of their plan. This is what's known as the King Alfred plan. A plan that has been stated as falsehood, just made up in novel form. This wasn't a real thing. But when you study thoroughly, you see that this plan was on the books and was translated into Rex 84 in 1984 by Mr. Ronald Reagan and Oliver North and all those top echelon bastards that was running the system at that time. Let's go into a little bit of the King Alfred plan. Pick it up right here.
That one?
Yep.
King Alfred. In the event of widespread and continuing and coordinated racial disturbances in the United States.
Now, see that? Now, one thing that this government does, they try to stir up racial tension. So they had, like, Mr. Zimmerman slaughtered that young brother down there. You know what I'm saying? And ain't no justice took place. They promoted, try to get us to get out there and act a darn fool. Why? Because they want us to revolt. They want us to rebel, so that gives them the okay and go ahead to destroy our behinds. Read.
In the event of widespread and continuing and coordinated racial disturbances in the United States, King Alfred, at the discretion of the president, is to be put into action immediately.
You keep that in mind. To be put into place by whom?
By the president.
By the president. So all our people that's getting ready to run out there November 6th and vote for Mr. Barack Obama, you know what I'm saying? He's going to be the one to initiate this plan on your behinds. Read on.
At the discretion of the president is to be put into action immediately. Participating federal agencies.
Check out the participating federal agencies that's going to take place in this thing. Read.
National Security Council, Department of Justice.
The Department of Justice, the National Security Agency. Read.
Central Intelligence Agency.
CIA.
Department of Defense. Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Just like we read in Intelpro. You know what I'm saying? We got to keep... J. Edgar Hoover, they the ones laid this plan down. So how can these people talk about this thing ain't real? All these agencies gonna have their hand in this. Read.
Department of Interior. Participating state agencies under federal jurisdiction. National Guard. Units. State police.
You see that? So check this out. Let's scroll it down. Pick it up right here.
Each passing month has brought new intelligence that, despite new laws passed to alleviate the condition of the minority.
Now you see that they claim to pass laws to alleviate our condition. All of the social ills that we dealing with, they claim to give us laws for. Well, we gave y'all niggas welfare. You know what I'm saying? We gave you unemployment. You know what I mean? We gave you a bridge card, and you still not happy.
Congress passes the most sweeping civil rights bill ever to be written into the law, and thus reaffirms the conception of equality for all men that began with Lincoln and the Civil War 100 years ago. The Negro won his freedom then. He wins his dignity now.
To alleviate the condition of the minority still is not satisfied.
See that? How can you be satisfied when you don't have your true nationality, you don't have your language, you ain't properly connected to the Heavenly Father, you got to go to your enemies for everything? How can we be satisfied in this type of system? There's no satisfaction in that. Read.
The minority still is not satisfied. Demonstrations and rioting have become a part of the familiar scene.
You see that? So now here's the propaganda. They're not satisfied. They're rising up. You know, they want to fight us. They want to take over. You know, we stomp out one of their people on the streets and the men go to court and they get off. They get mad. We had the right to keep.
Hi! Y'all think police?
At least 20 to 30 young people throwing rocks. You can hear them impacting against cars and against trucks. I haven't seen any police officers coming here. Only police.
and not for the blacks.
The scene has really gone crazy out here right now.
He barely manages to get away with his life.
Cities up. Should we have did that? What do you think? You know what I'm saying? You see your brother get stumped out like that. What do you gonna want to take action?
You seen Moses' approach when you seen one of his brothers get stumped out.
Exactly. What did he do?
Killed the man.
Put that brother to rest. Get out of here, brother. How dare you do this to my people? You know what I'm saying? So what do you expect? You're oppressing people to a point to where they have to stand up and rebel. There's no justice. You take matters into your own hands. But that's one of the killers on our end because we don't know who we are. If we link back to the Heavenly Father, vengeance belongs to Him. And it will come assuredly. Read.
Troops have been called out in city after city across the land.
Mm-hmm.
And our image as a world leader is severely damaged.
You see that? So they know that their image is damaged based on what they did to the quote-unquote Negro man, the Israelite man. That's why you had Ahmadinejad come to the UN and put them on complete blast for what they did.
Who abducted forcefully tens of millions of people from their homes in Africa and other regions of the world during the dark period of slavery, making them a victim of their materialistic greed in the United States and in Europe, who used atomic bomb against defenseless people and stockpile thousands of warheads in their arsenals, whose economies rely on waging wars and selling arms, who provoked and encouraged Saddam Hussein to invade and impose an 8-year war on Iran, and who assisted and equipped him to deploy chemical weapons against our cities and our people, who used the mysterious September 11th incident as a pretext to attack Afghanistan and Iraq, killing, injuring, and displacing millions in 2 countries with the ultimate goal of bringing into its domination the Middle East and its oil resources. If some European countries still use the Holocaust after 6 decades as the excuse to pay fine or ransom to the Zionists, should it not be an obligation upon the slave masters or colonial powers to pay reparations to the affected nations?
And what them bastards do, they got up and got the walking out of there. Couldn't take that truth coming out of that man's mouth. So the United States image is done for, and they don't like it. Read.
And our image as a world leader severely damaged.
Mm-hmm.
Our enemies press closer.
You see that? They're enemies. They know the prophecies contained in this book. They know them Iranians, them Russians, and that confederation of nations that's coming for them. They know them enemies coming. But just like back in the days when we was in Egypt, what did Pharaoh say when he was put that plan in actually to destroy us? What was one of the reasons? If they get too big, they're going to join with the enemy and press. They're going to destroy our behinds.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Read.
Our enemies press closer. seeking the advantage.
Right.
Possibly at a time during one of these outbreaks of violence.
See that?
The minority has adopted an almost military posture to gain its objectives.
You see that? So they was looking back in the day, they was looking at them Panthers like running around with them gats, highly organized, intelligent, feeding their own people. They like, these people's on some straight military action type. And they fear that. And they fear that if when them countries that's going to invade this place, they'll join them. And then we really done for. Our enemies is really shook on the low of us. You know what I'm saying? Read.
An almost military posture to gain its objectives, which are not clear to most Americans.
So the average American don't even pay attention to this. You know what I'm saying? They going along with their American dream, which is really a nightmare, and not paying attention to what's really going on, the real social conditions that's brewing around them.
Reality.
Exactly, reality. They have no condition of, they know no understanding of what true reality is. Read.
It is expected, therefore, that when those objectives are denied the minority, racial war must be considered inevitable.
You see that? Read.
When that emergency comes, we must expect the total involvement of all 22 million members of the minority, men, women, and children.
Men, women, and what?
Men, women, and children. For once this project is launched, its goal is to terminate, once and for all, the minority threat to the whole of the American society.
You see that? So when you read back in Esther, when dude was putting the plan in action, he said we have to destroy their men, their women, and their children. Those people that got those diverse laws, those people that won't be no profit to this kingdom, we got to destroy them. And we are no longer a asset to this system. We are now a liability. These people do not care about destroying us now. Why? Because they're charged by the adversary, just like we read back in Revelations 12. You know what I'm saying? Let's scroll down. Read this portion. So check this out, y'all.
Since the Korean War, this department has shifted minority members of the armed forces to areas where combat is most likely to occur.
You see that? So this is one reason why our brothers and sisters that's involved in Babylon's military system, you need to get out. Because they putting you on the front lines to get slaughtered. Why? Because you hold key understanding on how to fight on a military level. So it's definitely important that you get out of their military and join ranks with Hamashiach to the glory of the Most High. Read.
With the aim of eliminating through combat as many combat-trained military servicemen as possible.
You see that? Because they know these brothers can come through, teach them brothers in the hood that's a lot of us is used to busting them gas, but we have no mindset of how to do it on a trained level. But these brothers will be able to do that. So put these niggas on the front line. Get them out of here. Read.
Today, the ratio of minority member combat deaths in Vietnam, where they are serving as advisors, is twice as high as the minority population ratio to the rest of America.
Now check out this timetable that they have put together in 8 hours to round up all of the millions of the so-called Negroes in America, the true children of Israel. Read. Start at 1. This is their timetable. Read.
Below is the timetable for King Alfred, as tentatively suggested by the JCS, who recommend that the operation may be made over a period of 8 hours. Local police and minority leaders in action to head off the emergency.
You see that? So they're going to start with the local police and those so-called heads. If they can't do nothing for us, they're going to get them out the way first. So Mr. Al Sharpton, Mr. Jesse Jackson, if they can't come on TV and say, look here, y'all, just fall back, chill out. They not effective no longer, they're going to put that plan in order. Read.
Countdown to 8 hours begins at the moment the president determines the emergency to be.
Read.
A, national. B, coordinated. C, of long duration 8 hours.
You see that? So they say, okay, they're gonna determine it as a national thing. You know what I'm saying? If we become coordinated, it begins to get out of hand. Put that plan in order. Get it online.
County police join local police 7th hour.
See that? Now the county police join the local police. They come together.
State police join county and local police the 6th hour.
Oh my goodness, read.
Federal marshals join state, county, and local forces the 5th hour.
You see that? So now all the police forces and units are getting together heavy to come down on us. You know what I'm saying? Read.
National Guards, federalized, held in readiness 4th hour.
Now this is in the 4th hour, getting their forces in line for us. Read.
Regular armed forces alerted, take up positions. Minority troops divided and detained, along with all white sympathizers under guard 3rd hour.
You see that? So all those military trained men and white sympathizers, if you sympathize with the nation of Israel, you care about what happened to us, you're getting detained as well.